Good afternoon, everyone. Imagine you are sitting here listening to me. You feel fine and everything seems okay. But suddenly, you start to feel a little uncomfortable. Your entire body starts sweating. Your breathing becomes so rapid that your throat hurts. You are gasping for air. And your heart is pounding so hard that you think it will burst out of your chest. For a moment, you feel like you are going to die. Horrible, right? What would you think was happening to you? You would think you're having a heart attack. Most people would think that. However, many people have been rushed to the hospital only to find that there was nothing physically wrong with them. In many cases, the tests even showed that their heart was very strong. So, what could cause such severe physical symptoms? A surprisingly common mental illness called a panic attack. Mental illness often manifests itself in physical ways. This highlights the importance of caring for our mental health. Why? Because our mental health can have a profound effect on our physical health. But unfortunately, people usually pay a lot more attention to their bodies than their minds. This is something I noticed when I became a doctor. Let's look at this picture. This is where I used to work. The Department of Psychiatry in a public hospital. There are lots of patients waiting to see the doctor every day. Let's look at other departments dealing with physical illnesses. See? 3 to 5 times more people are waiting there. As a psychiatrist, I see many patients of different ages, professions, and levels of experience every day. I found that everyone knows how to maintain their physical health. But does anyone know how to maintain our mental health? Most people know nothing about this, even though it is just as important as staying physically healthy. Parents teach us physical hygiene when we are children. But does anyone teach us about psychological hygiene? Usually not. It's a sad fact that our physical health is treated as more important than our mental health. When we have a cut on our skin, we all know we have to sterilize and cover it to avoid getting infected. But in fact, we encounter psychological injuries more often than physical ones, such as failure, rejection, loneliness, or isolation. If we ignore these psychological problems, our ability to cope with the normal stress of life, work production, and our physical health will be affected. The effects of psychological problems on physical health can even be seen in animals. Animals whose movement was restricted or who were separated from their families for just 1 hour a day, for 2 weeks, started to show physical symptoms such as stomach ulcers. So, should we be surprised then that humans also start to display physical symptoms as a result of mental trauma? Not really. Psychological injuries can get worse if we ignore them, and they can impact our lives in dramatic ways. as we all no doubt saw during the COVID-19 pandemic lockdown. So, why do mental health issues often go untreated? Unfortunately, it's because the stigma attached to the mental illness. This is something we must overcome as a society. Mental health is just as important, if not more important, than physical health. Getting help with mental illness is no more shameful than going to the hospital with a broken leg. Here is one example that shows how serious mental health issues can be, but also shows the benefit of getting help. I started to work in a private clinic 2 years ago, which gave me more opportunity to work with teenagers. Anna is a 15-year-old girl who started to have severe headaches. Anna had been dancing since she was a child and had won many awards. She was proud of herself, as were her family. However, she failed, performed well in a very important competition, and totally blamed herself. From then on, she became very nervous and kept telling herself not to make the same mistake again. But it didn't work. Her performance got worse and worse, accompanied by severe headaches. She gave up dancing, which she used to love. And her family doesn't understand how just one unsuccessful competition could have such a negative effect. As we know, we have a default set of feelings and beliefs that get triggered whenever we encounter frustrations. If your brain tries to convince you that you are incapable of something and you believe it, you will start to feel helpless. And if we are convinced by our brain, it's hard to change our mind. See how easy it is for your brain to trick you. This is not limited to young people. Adults are often tricked by their brains too. Like other negative emotions, failure creates a deep psychological wound that distorts our perceptions and thinking. It not only causes psychological diseases such as depression, anxiety, and sleep and eating disorders, but it can also damage our immune system, our nervous system, endocrine system, and even lead to death. Thankfully, Anna got help. With the support of the mental health professional, she is slowly making progress. It has been 20 years since I became a doctor. People are becoming more and more aware of health care for their bodies. We try to eat healthily, exercise regularly, get a good amount of quality sleep, and have a regular physical examination to maintain our physical health. But very few of us manage our mental health. This situation must change. There can be no health without mental health. It has taken decades for people to improve sanitation, which dramatically reduced the infectious diseases and increased the average lifespan. I believe if we take action now to build our psychological care, we will see further improvement in the quality of our physical health, and our overall life of quality will also improve dramatically. Let's work together to ensure that the terrible feelings we described at the beginning become a thing of the past. Thank you.